Hey, this is Sharon with DesignerDIY, and I'm going to show you how I make a wreath using our ribbon collections. You get 3 full bolts of ribbon. I'm going to use these 2 in the back ring and then all 3 in the front, and have enough extra to make a bow. I have a 10-inch mesh that I bought separately. I cut into 10-inch pieces. You need 20 pieces total that are 10 inches long. Make an X, you twist it right onto that back outer ring. So like I said, just cut 20 pieces that are 10 inches long and then leave the rest for later. After I add all of this mesh onto the back outer ring of the wreath, we are going to be adding those 2.5-inch ribbons that I showed you. I cut them into 14-inch pieces, and I'm fray checking the ends so they don't fray. We have this available on our website. I cut 10 pieces of each of these ribbons because there are 10 pegs on the back ring that I need to add ribbon onto. So I'm going to make an X, I'm going to bunch it up in the middle, and I'm going to twist it right on top of where we already added the mesh. I'm going to fan them out. And I'm going to do the same thing in every single peg along that back outer ring. And these are 14-inch pieces that I cut, and then I dovetailed the ends. Once I have all of this ribbon added onto the back ring, we are going to add mesh onto that front smaller ring. Those pieces of mesh are cut into 18-inch pieces, and we are going to be ruffling them. So here is the mesh, it's 18-inch pieces. I'm going to roll one end, I'm going to ruffle down the center, and then I'm going to roll the other end in, and I'm just going to twist it right on top on that smaller ring of the wreath. Now there are 8 pegs, so I just needed 8 pieces of the mesh. Once I fill in the center ring with the mesh, we are going to add ribbon next. For the front ring of this wreath, we are using all 3 of the ribbons that were in the ribbon collection, and I cut them into 13-inch pieces. So here are the 3 ribbons. They're cut into 13-inch pieces. We have 8 pieces of each because there are 8 pegs in the front ring. So I'm going to take one of each ribbon. I'm going to make an X. I'm going to put one up and down in the middle. I'm going to pinch across the center. And I'm going to twist it right on to that mesh that we just added. And then I'm going to tuck the extra piece of pine like under the ribbon so it doesn't show. And we're going to keep doing the same exact thing. You make an X. One goes up and down in the middle. Pinch it, and I'm going to twist it right on. And I'm going to do this all the way around that top smaller ring of the wreath until it is all filled in. Now, after I cut all of these pieces of ribbon, I still had about 3 yards, a little bit more than 3 yards left on the 2.5-inch bolts. And I have a bunch left over from the 1.5-inch, but we are going to make a bow to go on top. So you can either make a bow or you could save this for another wreath if you wanted. But like I said, you should have a little bit more than 3 yards left. So I'm starting out by measuring a 14-inch tail. I'm going to pinch it and I'm going to twist as I push it down. And for this back layer of the bow, I'm doing 7-inch loops, so I'm going to measure out to the 7-inch mark. If you would like a more in-depth tutorial to making a bow with the Easy Bow Maker, we do have those available on our YouTube channel or on TikTok. So there's the first layer. I'm just going to trim the tail. Then I'm going to grab the next ribbon, After I made this layer, I had about 24 inches left of that ribbon, so I'm just going to save it for another wreath. For the next ribbon, I'm measuring out the same length for the tail, and I'm making these loops just slightly smaller so the striped ribbon shows. So I'm going to make this layer, and then my next layer is going to be the 1.5 inch ribbon. Since we didn't use as much of this ribbon in the wreath when making it, there's still several yards left on this roll, so it gives you enough that you can use it for a lot more projects if you'd like. So this is the last layer. Again, these loops are just slightly smaller than I did for that green ribbon. And once you finish all the layers, you're going to take that wire and tie it around all the layers, and I'm going to use the same wire just to tie the bow directly onto the wreath. This wire it's like a fabric covered wire. We have it available on our site. So I'm just going to double knot it. Super easy. So you just figure out where you want it to go on your wreath, and you just use the wire to just tie it directly on. Here is the finished product. Now you could totally leave this wreath as is. It's adorable. You could also add a sign if you'd like. I'll show this one. This technically doesn't match. I'm just using it as an example. You can add a sign. You can also add like an object like succulent or whatever you have that matches, or you can use some of the cotton picks and just weave them kind of in and out. All great options. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and leave me a comment.